Whatever the mind does, it is always, always, always trying to protect you. Avoid going into war with it. Hi, everyone. Here, Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer again, sharing insight and tools that can help you really understand how the mind works and how to start making changes. I've been studying the mind now since 2009, and I have helped thousands of people in 44 countries around the world. And what I keep seeing over and over again is how people start going into war with their behaviors, with their mind, their ego. And unfortunately, as they try to do that, it makes sense because they want to try to make changes, they want to try to get rid of things, they want to try to become a greater version, whatever it is. Unfortunately, what are they creating is more of what they don't want. So today I want to explain a little bit more how the mind works and how to start making changes. When we came to this world, we came with a blank slate. We didn't know what love was. We didn't know what success was. We didn't know what money was. We didn't know about anything. And as we start growing from zero, even inside of the womb, our mind starts being programmed from 0 years old to 7 approximately. Your belief system starts to be created. And that starts becoming the subconscious mind. When we talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, we're talking about the conscious mind runs between 5 to 10% of your life, and the subconscious mind runs around 90 to 95% of the show. So when people tell me, Tommy, I'm struggling with money, but I believe that money is good, that I deserve money, that money is available, that money, blah, 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 whatever they're telling me around money, normally, if they're struggling, is because they have limiting negative false beliefs in the back of their head. So if your mind is spending, if one of your behaviors is spending money each time you have it, not being able to ask for more money, whether it is your job, whether it is in a company, in a business, it doesn't matter. If you're struggling with money, normally the idea is to try to explore what's going on deep in the subconscious mind. Because as Carl Jung said, I'm going to keep saying this is important. If you don't make conscious what is in the subconscious, what is in the subconscious is going to run the show, and you're going to call it fate. So what our people do to try to make changes, they start going into war with their minds. Oh, I should stop thinking this way. I should stop feeling this way. Whatever you're going into, I need to stop feeling or thinking this way. You're going into war. You're denying a part of you. And as I said, and I'm going to keep saying many times, is the mind is trying to protect you. The other day, I was working with a group of entrepreneurs, and many of them were struggling with money. And I started talking with one of them, and I asked her, what do you believe around money? And she had some positive things about, money is good. I deserve money. Money is abundance. Money is energy. I deserve energy. I deserve money. She said many positive things around money. And then I asked her, what was she going through with money, right? Related with money. She told me that she found herself nervous about asking for money, that, whenever people had to pay her, she would kind of avoid making the sale, postpone it, and she understand why. So as I heard her language, and this is one of the big things that I do through the work that I do, is I listen to how people speak and how that could be impacting them in their life, right? So as I was talking to this woman said a couple of things that really stood out. And I started asking her, okay, tell me when you were a little kid, with the language that you're using, the different things you're describing, what I feel is something happened during childhood that you have learned to reject money. And she's like, what? And I asked her, did something happen when you were growing up? Maybe your mom and your dad, between a family member. Suddenly her face kind of changes. She was like, oh, Tommy, I just remembered that before, when I was very small, my parents would be more present. My dad would play with me. He was very loving. He was there with me. And later on, around 5, 6 years old, he started making more money and things started changing at home. I asked her, okay, those things that started changing at home, how do they look like? And she started saying that dad wasn't around. that mom and dad started fighting a lot, that there were many problems when dad started having money. So I asked her, what do you think is the narrative that little girl might have made up in her mind when she started seeing that dad with more money started changing? And the first thing she said was that money changes people. So what she did at that moment as a little girl started making up a story of what was dad's behavior. So in her mind, she created the story, money changes behavior, money changes people. So later on, what she decided was to avoid making money because she didn't want to face the pain that she felt when she was a little girl, and she didn't want to change like her dad did. That sounds so basic, but that is how the mind works. We started working on that little girl, her subconscious mind represented by that little girl, to realize that actually I started asking questions. And what we did was to separate the concept that money changes people, because money is a piece of paper. Money has no power. Although a lot of people talk about this, and it's on purpose, that is, in a way, hypnosis, control, manipulation. A lot of people are trying to impose that money gives you power, money gives you freedom, money gives you happiness. But the truth is, money doesn't give you anything. We have the power, nobody else. So that little girl had given all her power away to money, thinking that money had power, that money makes people change. And the truth is, I asked her, how can a piece of paper make somebody change? Till eventually, through different exercises and different things that we did, she ended up realizing and really feeling it within her. We went through several steps so that she could tell herself that, oh, I am now realizing that dad changed when money was available. Dad changed when money was available. Now, when we're able to separate that, money is not the problem. Because for her, deep in her subconscious mind, what she had is money is problems. Money creates problems. Money creates separation. Money creates people changing. And that is not the higher truth. That is a partial truth, as I call it. So if she tried to go into war to try to think positive, that money is good, that I deserve money, all of that, she was only going to create more problems inside of us, because she was rejecting the parts of her that truly believed that money made people change. I cannot go against my mind to make it think that money doesn't change anyone. I need to apply a more loving, compassionate approach to invite the mind to think something different. I cannot just impose something to the mind, because it doesn't work. How many times have you tried imposing things to your mind? I need to feel different. I need to think different. I'm going to go to the gym next time. I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to start doing this. And what happened when you did that? Did it work? For most people, it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, why do you keep trying it? So the mind needs a much more loving, safe approach to invite it to think a different way. So I invited this woman to start questioning in a good way, exploring, where did these beliefs come from? When she was a little girl, dad started having money, and that's when problems came into the home. And she hadn't processed that. She hadn't released what she went through, and no way she was going to let go the belief that money creates problems, that money makes people change. So as she didn't want to change, she was rejecting money. So although she didn't know, and she had tried many things to try to start having more abundance in her life and be able to make more money, indirectly, subconsciously, she was blocking it. She was numbing it. She was denying it to protect herself. So remember, the mind looks into the past to protect you from potential pain. It's protecting you. So if you're not making money, if you're not being able to find love, if you're not being able to keep love, if you're not able to, whatever it is that you're not being able to, perfectionism, procrastination, self-sabotage, analysis paralysis, any type of behavior, any type of behavior normally is a protective mechanism. So the first thing we need to start is changing the language we use to talk to ourselves. So instead of, oh, why am I not being able to make more money? What's the problem? What's wrong with me? Well, whatever, that what you're doing is judging, pointing fingers, and talking in a very authoritarian, dismissive, whatever way, negative way, we need to start saying, what is my mind trying to protect me from? What is my mind trying to protect me from? When we switch that from judgment, criticism, rejection into exploration, that's why I call it compassionate exploration. When we switch that into exploration, it makes it easier. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to make it easier to navigate the mind to find what is really going on at the root, not at the surface level. Most people work at the surface level. And that's the big problem. Most people teach you how to hijack, hack the mind, stop feeling this way or stop thinking this way. But actually, for most people, it doesn't work. But people keep seeking for that because they don't want to do the hard work. Like if you had a line, if you have like two booths, one is you need to face your pain and deal with your emotions, and it's going to be scary and might take a while, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And you have another booth where it says, oh, I can just teach you how to hack the mind and not go through your pain. Most people teach to go down the booth of not facing their pain, not feeling their emotions. And that's why I've been studying this for now 17 years. That's why I believe so many people follow Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Bob Proctor, and many of those, because in many of their teachings, they're teaching you not to go through your pain, not to feel your negative emotions. Feel positive, change your state. One of the big things from Tony is changing your state. How about loving and accepting your state? I never heard Tony say that, or Mel Robbins, or Bob Proctor, or Abraham Hicks. No, they're telling you how to stop feeling the pain. That's why they have huge followings, because instead of following Gabor Mate, and I'm not saying me, Gabor Mate, that he has followers, but not as big as Tony Robbins or Jay Shetty, right? Bob, the name, sorry, I lost the name now. But the people like Margaret Paul and the people that are teaching you to go through the pain, people don't like listening to that because it's scary. It is, swimming in open waters, uncertain. I don't know if it's going to work. It feels uncomfortable. I would rather follow somebody that is going to tell me how do I do to feel different? How can I do to start doing stuff, instead of really understanding why am I not doing what I need to do? As I always give this example, I was working with a woman that she could not go to the gym. Although she had tried to go to the gym for a couple of years now and paid for several months of the gym quota, and she would never go. And she was trying to kick herself to go to the gym. Eventually, we started working together, and what we found is that she had a really traumatic event when she was around 12 years old in a gym, that it was so traumatic that she was avoiding going to the gym not to face that pain. This woman was fighting making money because she was protecting herself from, pain. So whatever we're doing, we're avoiding pain. Doesn't matter what it is, any human behavior, smoking, drinking, drugs, anything, procrastination, running, anything you're doing to avoid pain, although even a healthy habit could be turned into a toxic habit because you're avoiding pain. So the idea is to try to understand what is really going on, guys. to try to go deeper to understand what could be the experience that I went through as a kid that I need to process, do some somatic work to feel it in the body, to be able to finally release it and allow the mind to invite it to change the narrative that you're telling yourself. Like today, I was working with a woman and she is really empathetic with a lot of people, but she's not empathetic with herself. And she was realizing that things happened during childhood that she wasn't even aware of that made her feel unworthy. And although she was very successful, deep down, she still didn't feel worthy. So it didn't matter what she was achieving externally. Deep down, she didn't feel worthy because of past experiences. So if we don't deal with the past, if we don't close chapters, heal chapters from our past, unfortunately, your mind is going to still be believing whatever you're believing. And no matter what you do, it is never going to be enough. People think that when they make us X amount of money, they're going to be happy, that they're going to be free, they're going to feel worthy, they're going to feel valuable, they're going to feel whatever. A while ago, I started talking to a guy that he told me I had 1 or 2 sessions. That was it. Unfortunately, I wanted to work more with him, but we had a couple of sessions, and he was telling me that if he made $10,000, his life was a month, his life was going to change forever, and that he was going to be the happiest person in the world. So as we started try to help him realize that money was not the solution, that feeling free, feeling happy, all of that came from within, I was going slowly because I thought that we were going to work longer, but he didn't want to face his pain. So eventually, a couple of years later, I found out that that guy made $1 million in a year. There's a specific prize that a platform gives to the users of that platform that make $1 million. So I know it was confirmed that he made $1 million. So we're talking about making, right, $1 million. He should have been made how much? $8,000. $8,000 a month? No, right? No. Sorry, no, 80. Around $80,000 a month, right? More or less, average. And when I reached out to him just to say congrats, and I got to talk to him, he was like, yeah, okay, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So as I knew something was going on, I said, okay, what's your next, stepping stone? He said, now I want to make $1 billion. So he was not feeling good enough for making 10K. He was not feeling good enough for making 80K. He now wanted to make $1 billion to feel happy, to feel free. So it's amazing how the mind works. It just moves the hurdle a little bit forward. It moves the north a little bit further, because at the end, what we're chasing is to feel good about ourselves, to feel loved and accepted. That's why I have the logo, the mind and the heart, because they need to work together. The mind needs to feel loved and accepted by itself. Because no matter what you achieve externally, no matter, guys, what you achieve, and I have worked with several millionaires, they're not happy no matter if they make $5 million, $6 million, $8 million, or $10 million. They're always moving the bar and saying, oh, when I make now 5 million, I'm going to be happy. They hit the 5 million. Oh, when I make $10 million, I'm going to be happy and free and blah, blah, blah. And they keep moving that. And that happens at every level of society. People that might say, oh, when I'm able to have my first car, I'm going to feel happy and free and blah, blah, blah. When I'm able to have my blah, I'm going to feel blah, blah, blah. And they keep running after the next prize to try to feel good about themselves. That's why not a lot of people want to do this work, because this is the difficult work, the uncomfortable, that we need to start learning how to love and accept where we are. Love and accept every freaking behavior that we have. I help people love and accept the part of them behind the drinking. Love and accept the part of them behind the drugs. Love and accept the part of them that is doing whatever they're doing. Doesn't matter, whatever it is. I've worked with people that had some issues, big issues, right? And they were doing things that were not very nice. So it's how to love and accept the part of them behind that, because that's the only way. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. The biggest thing that we're taking with us to the next world, whatever it is love. You're not taking your money. You're not taking your watch, your car, your house, your kids, your wife. None of that is coming with you. So who are you? The moment you die, wherever you go, if somebody asks you, who are you? Without using any references in earth, like I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer. Who are you? Regardless of all of those tags you have been put here on earth. Who are you? And that is one of the most difficult questions most people struggle to say and to truly believe, that you're much more than anything you have collected here on earth. You're not taking that with you. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not there yet. I'm learning how to. I'm sharing how to navigate this life to help you get out of life the best you can. But it's through love and acceptance. Practicing unconditional love. Because if I'm able to love and accept the part of me that procrastinates, the part of me that falls into perfectionism, the part of me that self-sabotages, the part of me that is not making any money because it's scared of becoming like my dad or, losing love, those parts need to feel loved and accepted. And it's through that process that we're going to be able to manifest more of who we are and be able to do more things. Don't get me wrong, maybe do more things, but from a place of love and acceptance. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in the comments if you like this, if it makes sense, if you're willing to do the hard lifting. People want to have a fit body, but they don't want to do the hard work, right? To keep the body how I have it without doing much exercise is by eating really healthy. Is it easy? No, because I see people around me eating a lot of things, and many times I want to eat that every day. But I eat maybe on the weekends a little bit of sugar, maybe. The rest of the week, I'm eating a lot of salads and some maybe hummus or chickpeas and things like that to get some of my proteins. And my body is in a really good shape because I'm taking care of it. I do some walking, don't get me wrong, but it's not that I do a lot of exercising. But I keep the body like this because I have to let go of foods that I would love to have every day, sugar and chocolate and many things that I stopped eating. I eat them every now and then to keep myself healthy. So if I protect my body, why won't I protect my mind too? Work on my mind, do the hard work, learn how to deal with my emotions correctly. I love what happened yesterday. Spain played against Argentina, and Argentina lost. Spain played a really good match. They deserved it. And most of the Argentinian players were crying. That is great. They're able to manifest their feelings and emotions to the world. Messi was crying in front of the camera, and he cried against Egypt. He cried against Switzerland. He just shows himself, and it's okay. We need to start normalizing our emotions, navigating our emotions. The bad thing about the players, and I'm pretty sure that now they're back home thinking about the next thing they need to worry about and not just go back and relive and really feel why those emotions were there. Why was Messi crying? How did it make him feel about himself that he wasn't able to, get to win the cup? Like that for every player. I'm talking about Argentina, right? What happened inside of them? What was the narrative, the story they were telling themselves? That will go much deeper to reprogram the mind. If they start thinking about the next thing, we're covering up our emotions and missing the opportunity to be able to find the limiting negative and false beliefs, the partial truths in our minds that are holding us back. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you enjoy this. Let me know in the comments if you're watching live #live. If you're watching replay, I invite you to write #replay. And please let me know. I would love to read your comments and see what you think about what I shared, if it makes sense. If it doesn't, I love if you can challenge me, of course, because I'm open to challenge what I believe. The same way I'm inviting you to challenge what you believe. So I hope you enjoy this. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time with more insight and tools on how the mind works and how to start making changes.